So this is going all over the internet. You know what that means? That means you're gonna see it on the internet. I know. Fascinating, right? Fascinating, right?
As poets, we do not choose what we write about. This planet picks it for us. Some of us will tell you about the first magical moment we ever fell in love. The first time we ever watched the sunrise, or other pretty things. While others will remind you of the not so pretty things like betrayal, heartbreak, injustice, war, disease, famine. But if we don't bring up the disparity of those forgotten, then who will? And don't get mad when we don't return your calls, can't make it to your next event, or just decide to take some time for ourselves because we are in no way immune to the things we write about. Sometimes we need to recuperate, and sometimes we might need to conversate. And although at times this can drain us, it doesn't escape the fact that for some of us this is a calling, and it is absolutely necessary that we answer. And we learn to live with the truth we speak, and we learn to live with what others may think about us for doing so. And we dream of the day when every single human being no longer gives us such things to write about.
Fascinating, right?
I think I'm going crazy.
We're going to kick this show off actually with one of our favorite poets. He's going to do some spoken word for us, guys. So please put your hands together for Mr. Harry, everybody.
It was once us versus them. Then, us versus us. Now, us protecting them from us. This shit makes no sense.
Leadbelly, Robert Johnson, Son House, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Lightnin' Hopkins, Hank Williams, Roy Orbison, Khalil Gibran, John Lennon, Jim Morrison, Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix, John Coltrane, John Zorn, William S. Burroughs, all of the last poets, Rudy, Gypsy Bird, to every barfly that approached the mic and stood before a new generation, teaching them of scat and beat, of actual hip-hop, of the actual love of love poetry. Amiri, Baraka, Multa, Baruka, Dick Gregory, Jello, Biafra, Lydia, Lunch, Chuck D, Saul Williams, Mike Ladd, Johnny Cash, John Africa, Ramona Africa, Fred Hampton, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, Gabriella Salong, Matthew Shepard, Cliven Bundy, Vicky Weaver, John Joe Gray, Faddis Oda, Raisin Al Najir, May Havana, Ahead to Mimi, Mark Snowden, Julian Assange, to every artist currently battling their own demons, to an audience searching for hope. Willie Lee Bell Jr., aka Will the Real One, Laurie Tennant, for every member of an audience that ever thanked me, for every member of an audience that ever fought me, Odin, God, Judas, Osiris, Horus, Isis, Sun, Moon, Earth, Homeland, Water, Wind, slaves of Babylon, indentured servants of Ireland, children of Africa, women that burned on wooden stakes for the weakness of men, 56 men and women and 24 children that burned alive in Waco, Texas back in April 19th, 1993, for bullied teens who grew up to be quiet men, For those obedient before the television, being fed irrational fears every night at 6 and 10. For the plight of Palestinians, to the prophets, the original authors whose life's work has been tampered with, plagiarized, edited, blasphemized by the churches, rewritten to hide our greatness and disguise their sin, to cast a shadow over all light. Nowadays, modern athletes take the knee before mortal masters, offering submission as a form of silent resistance while refusing to kneel before their true creator. They are covering one eye, only witnessing half-truth, following in the footsteps of man, laughing off serpents, brushing off warnings, protecting their oppressors, and while covering that one eye, blinding that one eye, turning blind eye to humanity, open eye transfixed between temptation, television, phones, tiny screen. Home is not home, is not what it used to be. To every newborn, every old spirit, infancy on through eternity, to every living creature, not to every man.
And just a heads up, guys, either you keep the volume down or Harry will make sure that you will. So please keep your volume in mind when he's performing his poetry.
When the last martyr speaks, there will be an awakening to these backwards mentalities passed down from generations, and we will come to the realization that we really did take some patience.
Going crazy.
To all indoctrinated bigots, to all faithful hypocrites, to all loyalists disguised as patriots, to all self-made victims of self-entitlement, to all forever willing silent accomplices of extinction events held beyond this border, to all people of Earth violently ripped from the wombs of their once promised lands, to all unwelcomed voyagers telling true stories differently to make themselves out to be the hero, to every victim offered salvation only to be crucified, to every free thinker, burning witch, individual that has ever been silenced, child that has ever had to hide, you no longer have to be afraid. To all ministers of defense that ever gave the order to slaughter the defenseless, there will be consequences. Vengeance not to be seen as terrorism. We are asking for all colonial outposts to be abandoned, for every U.S. territory to be given back, for every troop to return home. Occupier, go home. Strangers have told our stories that redefined our bloodline. These present-day roles do not suit us. Carpenters cannot be painters. The disappearance of difference, loss of culture, of direction, of will. Our names lost in the wind. Our spirits are dying. Our world, our habitat, our climate change into dirty man doing dirty things. He is the plastic that swims in the ocean, the hatred that flows in veins pulsating, the gasoline that corrodes Hawaii's drinking water, the tar on the feathers of a flightless bird, the creator of new fault lines that run through the Caribbean. He is the reason condos are collapsing and schools of dolphins are beginning to beach themselves. His hands dirty. His hands destroy families. His hands kill. His hands push buttons, turn channels, and turn away those who begin to take notice. Where are your heroes now? There is no good guy riding off into the sunset. Very few governments are not involved in human chess. Today's damsel in distress, a wealthy, bitter, aging Me Too actress, guilty of once selling plenty of her past co-stars into human traffic. Grassroots movements infiltrated by Central Intelligence, now being trained to fight against justice. Decoy abolitionists now target what's left of this dying creature once known as freedom. There were no survivors of Eden. Replicants rewrote the books but can't tell you what they say. A mistranslated legacy, a fictitious history of imaginary wars played with plastic army men. One nation that covered our eyes and ears after whispering fears into them as a truth that could never be argued with. They believe what's on TV more than what they see. Trying to tell them is like trying to speak to a wall built to border existence. Soften resistance, limit vision, clip wings, cage freedom, and resonate the brewing hate of a deep-rooted legacy of US versus them, us versus them, those, they, found in mirrors, found in unmarked shallow graves, found far too late, exploited in film, discredited by fiction, always a suspect subject, topic, a safe space conversation. Today's intellectuals birth in old, new, and unimproved ignorance from the comfort of leather couches and coffee houses. How many children does it take for you to play Candy Crush, to be crushed and collapsing minds with two handfuls of coltan and a smile so wide because now he can finally rest, enjoy the consumer's temporary dream that you helped make possible during the same time they were out here saying they were saving the world, but who was there to save you? Our illiteracy of actual reality, our manipulative powers that be, our demonization of the world's beauty, our mistranslation of peace, our sanctions leading to poverty, our point finger blaming everyone else in the name of country, in the name of convenience, in the name of greed, in the name of intolerance, in the name of false teachings, propaganda, misunderstanding, simply not knowing, in the name of fear, but not in my name. They say they keep us safe, they endanger us. Many that like to hold those kinds of conversations have been raised into believing what should have never been believed. In all truth, we are rarely told the truth of other parts and people of this world. We claim to be this world power. Unfortunately, we tend to create allies out of actual oppressors, therefore becoming powerless in areas that truly matter, killing others with unspoken hope to consume their power. The power of constructing, building, creating, the power of conversation, the power of faith, the power of healing, the power of understanding, the power of love, the power of humility. It's time to admit that we are not as brilliant as we would like to believe. And just because some will comply and follow their every word, this will not guarantee safety. And I know a lot of you that disagree with me aren't really bad people. You've just been lied to, misguided, and unfortunately, we are all trained to be stubborn and set in our ways. All I am asking, get to know the people that have been demonized, discredited, targeted, defamated, and understand that any entity with paid sponsors may not always be completely honest. Your precious pop icons are only the puppets of the handlers. And if the CDC was so worried about our health, then why are there still so many numerous poisons on supermarket shelves? All I am asking is to take a deep breath and try to treat people, all people, as people. We, the people, we were once people. When we target people, we are no longer people. Let's try to be 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 people.
We the people of the great divide abort the sun before it could rise.
A generation with all the information at their fingertips, yet choosing the blindfold. Many artists hucklebuck on auction blocks, deaf by applause, blind by the spotlight. They have lost the ability to hear their own message. They can no longer see exactly what they've done, the damage they have done, the path they have begun, that far too many so unknowingly follow the wishes of an audience that thinks of themselves as invincible, as innocent, as the victim, as brilliant, as so caught up in a moment the only thing that will ever be remembered is what dress she had on, is what everyone else agreed with, so you should too, are untrue definitions of a stranger that reached out to you yet held the wrong image. Therefore, what might be the most important message will be forgotten. You preach tolerance just before finding someone new to hate. Scream justice while supporting potential abolishments of every right they so desperately tried to take away. Finding new names for those that refuse to think the same. Your stance, outlook, judgment solely upon appearance, gender, religion, race, only to blame everyone else for the exact same thing. Many have lost the ability to think. The news will not deliver truths but persuade you with popular opinions of their paid sponsors. They will try and convince you with gossip and rumors. They will publicly backtrack pre-known false information with televised corrections at 3 a.m. when they know no one is listening. Google search engines will bury accurate search results under pages and pages of inaccuracies. Fact checkers will bear the word of their highest bidder. Crowds will gather and conjure fictitious, devious, negative misportrayals of decent people, only to remember the absolute worst as flawless saints. Oh, the picture these serpents paint. Many society deem conspiracy to be a dirty word. The powers that be have dismantled truth or replaced it with nothing to see here. Nothing to see, nothing to hear. Remember what you see. Oh, can you hear me? They are watching people begin to take a stand, ordering them back to their knee, creating opposing groups for them to fall into, separating the masses, dividing the greatness of a once strong collective power. They are feeding off of us, off of our fears, our worries, our insecurities, our limited thinking capacity, our gullibility, our long-standing capability of continuing bastardized traditions and blood-soaked legacies through movies, music, holidays, ceremonies of massacre and genocide. 'Tis the season for sacrifice of culture, of prophets, of everyday civilians, of those that stood before them, of those struggling that desperately believed in an army recruiter's dream. The sacrifice of everyday citizens for these warlords, these secret societies, these agencies drunk off our tears, aroused by our deepest pain, initiated during our weakest, most vulnerable moments. There are those being used by cults to spread their message. That scepter will only be carried by those that were born or sworn in. We are being taught these rituals are only theater. We are being taught these artists are harmless and not to fear the groups they share ties with, identify with, throwing up triangle hands like gang signs of ends of times, them pantomimes, powerless against minds not so feeble, but many people controlled by device, told lies, blindfold eyes, control channels you. The channels have changed us, chained us to preemptive programming. Many of today's rappers, actors, and athletes are being sold, traded, and shared by human beasts, each only a mouthpiece for the elite, soon to eat their own spirit cooking. The virus is in the anecdote, the truth is in a soundproof cell. As soon as you think you know, they change the sequence of events. They watch us scatter like rodents. New booster, new variant. This is more than showmanship, this fine craftsmanship of reshaping existence, remaking benevolence into malevolence. The truth is found in you. These books rewrite destiny. Their direction leads to their destination. Become your compass. I control the wind. Where the wind blows, the weak will go. Minds get blown when I out the candles. This society fears our true potential. Realize, real eyes see through you and into me. I am prisoned by a colony of strangers, afraid of others, even each other, only to gather when afraid to think. afraid of the dark, but preferring to hide in their shadows so they don't have to face their own reflection. Many won't understand, and maybe they shouldn't, continuing to live like a movie, only taking credit in the end for playing their part, the role of someone else, mere actor, no legend, rewriting history with its original context, one awakening at a time. Believers of design, but not the designer. You explained how, but why? For what is art without the artist? I've learned to walk through fear and crawl through fearless. Tried to open closed minds, cried rivers before the tearless. For all of those unmoved, heartbeats will provide the rhythm. Maybe you've heard of me. If you've heard of me, then you've never heard me. I was a dream that peaked into reality. A reality that dared to dream. A misinterpretation, an interruption of programming. A speech yet to be recited, but always heard. A bird without wings, with a fly imagination, soaring over buildings, walls, borders, past signals, beyond limitations. I want more than half-truths, propaganda, and conversations about people neither of us have ever met. I want honesty. Please tell me, are you for life or taking it? Or reawaking a sleeping world? Do you listen to the news or listen to your heart? What kind of a madman are you? Should be ashamed of yourself for swimming in women's blood, period. For supporting global oppression, period. For aborting potential saviors, period. For enforcing what should have never been enforced, period. For not allowing me to finish my next sentence, period. Treated as an animal, a nightmare, an unrecyclable relic of yesterday. Tomorrow won't know history, and today simply chooses to forget an ironic past. Funny pictures on face masks, artists bought out, hip-hop's platinum binding chains, blood diamonds on foreheads. Forgive those still suffering for not laughing. Side effects of an over-intrusive, cultivated culture that had no business going into Ethiopia. We turn backs on gods only to worship these mortal masters. Salem's offspring, still trying to find witches to burn, people to cancel. Watch how the dog that gets beat still fetches that paper. How the so-called drug-free puff that radiated vapor. Trusting in a science that's been censored. Many don't want to be saved but accepted. Intimidated, demeanor, intensity, the weapon. Uncertainty, a virtue. Calmness is my mask. Anxiety, my enemy. None of you know what truly plagues me. And if you see, then maybe you've heard of me, which means you've never heard me. I would be heartless not to care about what I write about and what to write about if you don't care. If only here for money, it's funny that you're here. Profit see no profit, martyrdom no stardom. Only papers that we make are targets with our names on them. And if I make you angry, I hope to God I make you think. But thoughtless, it's a fad, and pill pop culture done gone mad. Good guy is a bad, best of times already had. Now dwelling in a once promising past where I wasn't welcomed either, but the music was a little better. Shadow of me of tomorrow, hard to imagine. It was once hard to see through something so hollow. Infected by time, our last great heroes are dead or dying. We assumed the worst from the very best. We have torn kind hearts from out their chests. Many only practice kindness when they believe someone is watching. Many become the hate they believe they are stopping. Many mistake one that is hurting for one that is hurting. We read memes more easily than the people in them. Elements, elementary, university, trapped in a safe space, forever shrinking. shrinking. We are being taught to disconnect and realign, worshiping fast-fallen stars that never left Earth. Comfort zone, country, county, and have the nerve to tell me of a universe many are far too scared to ever explore. I hope this hits all of you in the right way, that what I write today shows you not to be afraid of a culture, of a people, of a lifestyle not the same. Difference is what makes us, and far too many fear it, trying to prove a point till all ballpoints run pointless. And I promise your mundane perception may be challenged by truths you may not be ready for. Your thoughts once belonged to someone you agreed with. When you repeat the thoughts of those you always agreed with, thoughtlessness may occur. Maybe you've heard of me. If you've heard of me, then you've never heard me. Waving a flag and screaming freedom, while individualism gets falsely imprisoned by fears of boogeymen unexistent. Give peace a chance and allow me to tell you how easy it is to accomplish this. Tightrope, tied hope to nooses. Learn how to hold this hopelessness in both hands, never to let it fall again. John Doe executioner, unknown wayfaring stranger. We sing these covers about heroes born out of desperation, trying to write our own salvation. Today's tolerance has built an army that targets everything different, creating a world welcoming watchers and players, enslaving workers and builders. A people that push buttons, watch phones, and talk to themselves, extending hands to someone to hold to, bask in the dim spotlight, the false victimhood. This is a land where atheists believe themselves to be gods and followers kill their idols. An audience begins to look at each other in order to conduct the correct social response. God forbid any of them told us how they truly feel. An audience sits back, looks at themselves, and sees nothing, continuing to talk. Who among you are real? I don't mean to attack you, but I do. Oh, my people, if you only knew, I've known real victims and none of them are you. My tears stained the dress she wore to her wake. I'll always believe in heaven because I need to know we will finish our last conversation. Don't ever doubt my sincerity when it comes to the fact that I will never know someone like you again. Where would I have been right now if I remained by your side that night? And most importantly, would you be where you are now? There are those that think they know me, that never bothered to know me, that were bothered to know me. Some may hear a different story. Sometimes we're trying to climb out holes of our souls. We tend to pull others down with us unknowingly. A broken man seen as a beast, a broken heart that remixed its beat. Wait until life shows you the blues and you gonna learn how to truly sing. Pain becomes passion. Exile refines individual, reminds us all who we are. Walking alone until you find yourself, waiting for you, asking where have you been? The more I learn to live with myself, the more that will come after me. Envy wants those complete to fall apart. Enemies pretend to be friends, then catch you off guard. I am a movement, a moment, never, forever. I am only words, growing tired of Googling online dictionaries to understand me. Fact-checked, banned, canceling is for the weak. I wasn't trying to get on the air, but on the ground, back on my feet. I know when to use my imagination and when to hide my wings. Watching TV, believing me to be something other than me. Watch me defy gravity. Your lack of awareness will not redefine me. Judge me. Illusion, not identity, not reality. No education from viral videos and simple memes. Today's pseudo-intellectuals memorize headlines, recite news networks, and scream unite while drawing dividing lines. Far from the vine are today's God-fearing religions dipped in politics. Apocalypse on a 4-year sequence. Antichrist arrive daily. We sacrifice others for false sense of safety. We make up conspiracies of their death because the actual cause had to be anything other than what we were told to think, other than what we were told to take. The woke are far from awake. Reality replicates yesterday. Don't tell me about the future. Bring me tomorrow, today. La 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 la. Maybe you've heard of me. If you've heard of me, then you've never heard me.
I love you.
America, sweet, sweet, sweet America, sweet, sweet, sweet America, sweet, sweet, sweet America.
play modern day madman crusade with conquistador greed and devil torture. We gift this world with oceans of tears, mountains of corpses, an air unfit to breathe. We are each other's poison, every relationship toxic. If this isn't what you want to hear, then don't worry. Another love song is just around the corner. Another game, another movie. We are addicted to selective loss of memory. One individual cannot be completely defined by a book written back in the 17th century. Within these walls, honesty is a foreign policy, and those being lied to never know they're being lied to. We live lies we know not to be real. Every morning we get up to look into the mirror and convince ourselves of otherwise, and other lies, a disguise of forever faithful allegiance to global genocide. Our conscience placed before their bullseye to be silenced on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fingered children playing too close to diamond mines. An entrepreneur stumbled across a primitive setting and declared himself king. Stories of a barbaric East, though these mines property of the West. So try again, lie again. Truth is something many don't want to talk about, even think about. Truth is the only change we are currently seeing is due to clearly seen sloppy daily re-editing. Truth is forbid to be taught. Truth is covered up by bigoted anchors, biased reporters, bought out leaders, orchestrators of disorder. Mining industry set up like 10 churches of a traveling circus. Colonized cultures constructing godlike statues of poorly paid miners. Their offspring bear cleft lips, this mark of the corporate beast. Dry dirt craters where paradise used to be. Water evaporates, food depletes. This used to be paradise. Hard to believe and even harder to breathe. Colton produces millionaires born by the blood and sweat of the hardest workers kept poor. Our toys, souvenirs of genocide. From the mines a child will rise with no name, only seen as scenery and memes of human suffrage viewed by the unmoved and desensitized. He would make more money simply by begging in the streets of a big city. Same city becoming a magnet to the elite out west that like to head east, come out, play, go home then. Tell tales and former jokes told about hired help from last night's playground. Nightly, the news will sensationalize desperate acts, distort facts, and provide misinformation about their residents in order to keep viewers hesitant to reach out, outsiders to keep others in the dark of what a system hides in. Human zoo projects, city leaders use officers as loan sharks and executioners. Laws have been designed to keep survivalists confined for life. We practice selective outrage, choosing not to discuss what really needs to be talked about. When speaking to crowds, I grow proud when people walk out. It means I gave them something to think about. I'll watch my mouth when you watch your actions. Watch your temper. Watch what you're exposing your own children to. Watch how you're helping oppressors oppress. Watch how you keep others in their place. In this universe, there is no safe space. We are all stars, dust, remnants of planets formulated into beings of matter, calling for galactic justice. But back to Earth, the land of fallen serpents as servants. Dear America, pointing out our neighbor's sins should never excuse our own. The whole world is infected. Fear is contagious. Many of today's children are being taught not to question. They are being taught to the penalties for raising their hands in classrooms, in churches, in streets, in self-defense, and target center of trigger-happy officers indoctrinated by a backwards institution designed to keep those in control safe and in control, and those to be controlled always under control, or else. Watch as the average citizen defends the same system aligning against them. Watch how politics, race, religion, fear tactics, status of wealth, false diagnosis of health tears us apart. Fear should not be our strongest bond. Togetherness should have never been forced. As you search, realize a corrupt system won't provide the tools to dismantle it. We, as a people, responsible for our own rights, are now giving them back willingly. Our handlers do not have our best interests at heart. Many of these boogeymen don't really exist. Many of our wars have been unnecessary. Our enemies never had to be our enemies and still don't. Propaganda is not truth but an insult to our intelligence. Our allies have never been forced to answer for their war crimes or countless accusations of violations of human rights. Our sanctions never hurt governments, only their citizens. Do not be so married to your beliefs that you turn away from truth. Do not speak of terrorism without addressing your very own freedom fighters. My country of origin shall never determine my state of mind. mine. My eyes should not remain closed every time the true devil walks by. A nation so sophisticated they still solve everything with wars. Cave mentality with space-age disease. We are far from ready to be what we claim to be. We were once in caves, mistaken shadows for being followed. We are addicts no longer high. We chase the escape of the low. We are 6 feet below, 6 feet below. We wear the mask of stole identity. Hard to find our own identity, our true identity, to identify identically without identity. Just another worker ant, just another number, just another I can't, killing off all the I cans. Can I walk through walls and pass through gunfire, breathe underwater in great floods and fly off fallen towers? We are more powerful than we think. Our powers are untapped. We are raised not to rise, not to believe in us. Our dreams are talking to us, but we sleep through conversation. We are being watched. Timelessness is created by breaking off hands of that clock until our bodies forgot how to keep up with us, only to be reminded of our own mortality, only to be reminded that we are only human. We are damaged. Somewhere along the way, hearts got broken, dreams got shattered, lives were destroyed. While others lied to us, we lied to ourselves. We cried ourselves to sleep. We tried to keep a hold of what we should avoid. We knew better, but just wanted to feel better for one moment. And in that moment, we reminded ourselves why we were alone. Hope is not always something to carry. Thoughts should not always be trusted. Sadness is a sea. Pain paints the shore. Something in the air I breathe. Intoxicated by the toxicity of banshees. The night is even more cold while alone. Buildings on fire will not warm our souls. They are only set by those with nothing to believe in, that found something to believe in, that found themselves in the mirror, that found others as lost as them, that found themselves being lied to again. Always being lied to, what to believe in, how to believe in, time to believe in, all curiosity and no apology, the sounds pre-written. Not sure if they think lying is better or easier for us or them. Honesty is a forgotten memory, short attention spans through time, but I'm cursed with paying attention. The art of dreaming, but knowing when to wake up. Not sure how to tell myself I was wrong again. Looking for answers, searching for questions to ask, like why do I ignore truths that present themselves beforehand? Afterthoughts of aftershocks of afterthoughts, is this how we got thoughtless? Soon leading to heartless, heartbeats, happiness, smiles worn heavy, lying to ourselves wears out happiness. Time to find something new to wear, like truth to dare you to care about what others may be going through. Portals in time to escape their past by leaving the present, already making future plans to shorten the length of time of one who would have stuck around. And honestly, I can't tell you why I have allowed myself to be a game piece. I can't tell you why I tried to hide butterflies and cocoons that don't want to be captured. I bonded with caterpillars that outgrew me after they realized the power of their outer beauty. I'm afraid of vanity, the worst form of witchcraft to have to face when alone. We make up stories with convincing arguments on why we are so easily sold. Stories, lies, excuses. Maybe I just want to see what happens. Or maybe I believe in forgiveness. Or maybe I don't want to throw away potential happiness. But maybe I should understand this is not reality, but an illusion I wanted to believe could be real one day. A rose warmly blossoming from the desolate cold of concrete. Where stands this building once stood a tree. So was it building or destroying with the remnants of that tree? Some read far too into it, a book of cemeteries. Now that's ironic. Sometimes we tell ourselves stories we start to believe them. We make ourselves one of the characters. We make someone else one of the characters. Our surroundings become the stage. Our encounters become scenes, but the theater is not open 24 hours. Intermission, submission to the aftermath of a fairy tale. Fairy tales rarely put me to sleep. They keep me awake, fully understanding they were just fairy tales. Should I read it again or start a new book? Maybe an autobiography. Born Baton Rouge, 1978, Atlanta, the Carolinas, then Florida. A childhood without a neighborhood. Outside, I played with the animals, explored the pasture for adventures. Back in television, locked in movies, kung fu, horror, comedies, sitcoms, lost in the animation of the 80s. In school, feeling different than the others. I remember Aaron, black child with white father. Should have seen those small Christian children tease him until he cried, and I didn't understand why. Not until reaching the public educational system and watching adults pass off their ignorance to these young students. Then skin colors became more contrast as perpetuation of myth from the educator began to dumb down a child's innocence, and how everyone was afraid of each other, in need of a daily sacrifice to quiet their fears. Bullied in high school, 9th grade, tied to a fence and doused with shit. Jesus Christ pose, still got that rope burn on my wrist. All this just before finals. Walked into class told to get out. Women were uncomfortable around me for simply saying I liked them. Women that liked me seemed to always be with others that wanted me to be their secret. It did wonders for my social skills. Poetry accidentally found me, gave me sanctuary, probably saved me from me. Notebooks became my therapy, my anger, my temper, my voice. Junk food for the soul among many other unhealthy indulgences. But that was before. This is now. It is I who makes kings bow, who makes the winds howl. I bring the rain, brainstorms with high waters. Tears flood silent rooms, taking all doubt, making it my power. Our weakness can become our superpower. So when you see me, remember I'm only human, finding ways to deal with being human. We all struggle in many different ways, disguised in many different ways. And for those, you are not alone. I am not the boogeyman. And I am not the boogeyman many claim me to be. And if you ever need to speak, allow me to listen. When people tell me stories, I pretend not to know the end. In the words of Saul Williams, Earth is not a flat screen. I'm not trying to fit in. We are the bulletproof vest on the day of assassination. We are the resistance ending all sanctions. We are the fires that sweep through old plantations. We are the voices muted by major news stations. We are no longer taught of our power. The origin of creation once again rewritten. There are still those arguing with the dead. We are being raised, not to rise. Our senses have been dulled. We are replicants of pioneers. We plagiarize great speeches. Our very existence mimics the practices of forgotten tribes. Tomorrow buried yesterday. Sheep led astray every which way. One book revised countless amounts of times in order to conveniently suit his needs. Excuse his bad habits. This is not the word of God, not the city of God. An entire army fighting one man's battle. Orphans and widows, broken heart, broken men, no father figure. Television filled with rappers and athletes led on a leash, told what to speak. Ignorance slips into the ears of the unguided, the uninspired. There are those learning to take the knee before lesser gods, before old glory burns in homes engulfed by a clansman's fire. One nation on fire, small business on fire. The war on all of us, will many of us blame us. So with that, the fighting continues. A chorus of confusion, a tone-deaf anthem, hope and change, ropes and chains, a desert deserted, a people executed, cultivated, cultureless cults, the mirage of a disappearing village, an uninvited mining industry, forgotten roots never knew by many. We travel for word, reading backwards, now emojis like inscribed images painted on pyramids, telling same telltale of tomorrow. We've been here before, innovation only memory, we've done this before. The children are being told to write book reports without reading, students, the teachers, science experiments. We are being taught to fear common colds, we are being injected with placebos and promised forever. Our brains are bleeding, our species is weakening, obese doctors prescribing sluggish deterioration. The only signs of life are heartless heartbeats. Our leaders can't keep from laughing when we call ourselves free. They're lunatics providing therapy sessions for children, safe spaces where crowds should have been, politicians instead of gods, pastors rewriting passages for flocks, manufactured idols, the dismantling of a culture, mainstream infecting bloodstream flows through festivals of rituals with human stampedes, decoding ethics, corrupting morals of mortals in turmoil. Flesh uncoils through portals to an underworld. Dark dreams are killing you, killing youth. Take a shot, he got shot, mandate shot. Songs of freedom written as bait by bounty hunters of runaway slaves. These stars have already been chosen. We are lost planets off the same constellation. Galactic sniper, shooting star, underground reaches surface. New world constructed, citizens instructed to feed themselves to a machine that runs on a strict diet of angels, innocence, blood, and oil. Those that escape meet untimely fates. Those that keep faith know no other way. We are grateful and thankful for the wrong things. We hate the wrong things. We are afraid of change. We find comfort in chains. We graduate with diplomas of ignorance, a master's degree, a mastered subject, freedom. We tell ourselves just before we sell ourselves as remastered slaves of this new world. Awake and break from this relationship with obsession. Too many have fallen in love while under possession. Too many have fallen in love with their possessions. Life used to mean something, used to be beautiful, used to be seen as being something more than just semi-useful for someone else's dream. What we once thought to have escaped has followed us, finding us, blinding us, binding us to a culture of servitude, of giving up, of remaining faithful to leaders, to stars, to refurbished gods, to global executioners, killing strangers for strangers with something to offer, exploited, sanctioned, strung up, murdered, crucified for the highest bidder, acting brave, acting victim, remembering when we were heroes. Were we ever heroes? We were never heroes. True heroes are barely being kept alive in penitentiaries serving lifelong sentences. True heroes are standing before machines of war with sticks and stones in the name of those once so close till they fell 6 feet below. True heroes are every one of the four-legged. True heroes are no longer with us. Archbishops that once challenged government and removed bigotry from religion. True heroes were targets of a schizophrenic soldier's breakdown. Victims are said to be harmless war games played with drones, mortars, bullets, and clones from homes of the brave. True heroes were born in a land of hostility, scorned for their identity, and sadly blamed for their own premature death. True heroes are keeping to themselves, keeping out of sight, keeping their mouths shut, and silently sending messages to others through new unspoken language. They are quietly committing acts of generosity, not worried about the tax write-off. They are not endorsing madmen playing our master. They have detached from the rest, understanding the greater good to be the greatest evil. True heroes are trapped in mirrors, searching for their reflection in the eyes of yes men, living lifetimes of regret and procrastination. Why I write, each and every one of you are the reason. It's never too late to be you, to become you, the you you've always knew. I don't really know you because you are not you. You are living someone else's life. This is a room of stolen identities. Who among you can tell me your actual story? We become what others tell us without ever knowing showing us documentaries, movies, TVs, memes, so far from what we be. Imagine what we could be if we could find us and actually define our very being down to the very last molecule. True heroes will never have the slightest idea that they are heroes for every one of you. You, and you could possibly be someone's hero.
I look at you and see an end to being alone in a world so cold. You have brought back Earth's beauty, grown gardens from concrete, resurrected sincerity in the city, revamped mankind's ugliness into new beauty, remixed fantasy into reality, returned happiness, burned misery, a fiery passion, 2 hearts of fire, 4-letter words unspoken, yet felt.
Forgive me if I'm falling for you. I'd rather grow wings and
fly with you. My heart skips a beat, my knees a bit weak. The moment you speak, I get breathless. So many things I want to tell you. I guess that's what time is for. With first steps comes a bit of anxiety. Hopefully there are enough minutes for me to show you me. Allow me to shed all defense and gain the courage to care again, to open my heart again, to invite you in. As cliche as it sounds, I've waited a lifetime for you. I've known you before I met you, felt at home the moment I met you. The moment I met you, I became me again. I once thought dreams only to be dreams. Now it seems all dreams come true. Beginning of a day anew, depth of a sad man's blue. This feeling I'm trying to describe seems to be the sweetest fruit. Seems the moments we part, I miss you. And I haven't missed someone in a long time, in a lifetime. Haven't wanted company like I do when I begin to miss you. And I know things take time and there seems to never be enough time. I won't wear a watch or stare at a clock. I'm trying to find that timeless moment some refer to as forever. To verify this fairy tale come true, a tale so few have knew, a trail took by so few. Grant me some time to tell my story, to hear your story, to begin to write our story. I think I'm falling, but with you beside I'm learning to fly. Forgive my senses, I once set up defenses extracted from memories of my past. Won't you come through, allow me to deconstruct these barriers, set these worries aside and turn what was once hopeless into chance to express my feelings without the chance they may frighten you off. I assure you, these are heartfelt words and not lines to lure you in, but invite you into my world. Once in my world, I lost faith in better days to come, and with the absence of the sun, I had begun to grow numb. But the moment your hand hit mine became a new day. Middle of the night, midnight, moonlight turned sunshine, regained feeling, now feeling every heartbeat, every second guess, every breath, every tingle that runs through me when I see you. We drown in an ocean of baptism. Syrian princess, daughter of God, safe in being where standing before you I feel king. Before you I present to you my bent knee, my outstretched hand. Won't you take it and run away with me until we find ourselves by being together? You, the end of my storm, calmness to my sea, reminded me of happiness, compassion, fulfillment. Let me be your teacher, your student, your partner, your friend, soon your lover. You remind me of what it is to be human. For years I was crying myself to sleep and never realized until you woke me up. And as I awoke, I found myself in a heaven on earth with you by my side. And if this isn't real, then let this be an endless fantasy. If this isn't real, then let me re-examine reality and change every law of physics until it can be. I'm beginning to believe in you, in us, in me. I accept you for all of you and declare myself as yours. Every moment magical. If I could paint a picture of my feelings for you, then you would know exactly what heaven looks like. And to any dark place, I would bear the torch to provide you with guidance and warmth. P.S. You truly complete me. Thank you for coming into my life, for you truly are one of a kind. I accept every bit of you. The most ordinary meeting is an adventure. You have my heart and are always in my thoughts, every day a presence. You help me let go of my past and dream of a future. I grew comfortable being alone, and now that we have found each other, I can no longer picture that. Your kindness, your attentiveness, your beauty, your heart, I love every part of you and will always do my best to take care of you, protect you, make you feel as special as I know you are. I can see your greatness, your humanity. I can see the goddess in you. I can see your flaws but would never judge you for them. Just try to help you grow out of them. I will always try to find ways to remind you what you mean to me. In such a short time, I never thought this would be possible. Now every impossibility be posable, easily possible. Once again, thank you for teaching my heart how to smile and believe in someone.
Don't stop.
When the last martyr speaks, there will be an awakening from these backwards mentalities passed down from generations, and we will come to the realization that we really did take some petty shit just a little too far. They will see how fiction and art slowly began to rip apart a reality that realistically not one of us knew the first thing about. They will see how TV's taught hypocrisy. All we blamed them for was the same that formulated the very core of our own Babylonian superstructure. Concrete, godless cities could never be considered the heartland. Blood on the hands of Uncle Sam began to stain this hand that was shook, and disorientated visions began to visualize the truth which lies in motel room bed, secret meetings, this new world order, this self-righteous explorer had our children dying over silver quarters. We were trapped in supermarkets arguing over the price of fish when the first bomb hit. We were decoys trying to act authentic as plastic figurines transfiguring into killers disguised as saints with face paint and clown smiles, creating a media circus, disturbing the circuits during family reprogramming, teaching us who to love, who to hate, what to do, where to go, what rhythm to walk to, what style to walk it into, the doors shutting behind us, to be concealed in a room with only one view, where only one truth would cancel out the cries heard if you listen closely, thinking untaught thoughts, wondering if any mind readers notice me, wondering if they could keep a secret, or would they tape record my private self-conversations, edit my words and have me heard as a new enemy, just because I refuse to wear a shirt with a flag on it. The disbelief of mortal worship with warship organization to fire at the mouth and burn with fire and ice water. Yes, he who walks tightropes, finding balance in the lines of your mind, possessing the potential to be authentic once again. Remember when originality was at the table, only to sit there till it got cold? I caught the cold, threw it in a stove and wove thoughts into my mind to a memory it wouldn't be left behind when somebody told me to run from it. See, each and every passing day we become it. You were the light burning candles, not the candles that melt. You were the thought, the thinker, the ideology behind every great setting. Do you believe in people dying for your dining? To feel safe, will another soldier have to rape another Western slave and take advantage of the word following orders? Disorder, caught on camcorders, incidents everlasting, every final shot. Soon to be sold through cyberspace entitled What We Do for Our Country. Let's just call it What They Do to Other Countries. And some cheap motherfucker actually believes if we wipe out enough of these invisible enemies, we'll purchase gasoline just a little cheaper. Never understanding the true concept of how many sincere moments caught in those speeches will in time justify that cost of living. But there's a cost of giving, a cost of taking, and at all costs, my friends, let me ask, can we afford the cost of receiving? Another worm like fish, we've been hooked on fish and trips and Cape Cod, hooked on caffeine, nicotine, gasoline, porn queens, hooked like crack fiends, dope fiends, there go them dreams. Replaced with diversion to help us forget who we are, never understanding who the casualties were. They're gonna have enough obituaries to fill an entire paper, so they just gonna shorten it and simply state we are winning. But sadly, we won will show that we are not one, but millions of backstabs, carjacks, heart attacks, killers wearing masks, molestations and bubble baths, rats, traps, government tracks. That's where we are at. But we will blame it on another spot on the map and feel a bit better about our own shortcomings tomorrow. For a day, anyways. Give it another day, the unity will fade. The division will escalate. Christopher Columbus was the first son of Sam. He was the inspiration for March 19, 2003 at 8 a.m. Fertile soil and golden trinkets resurrected as gasoline, sulfur sink, and other natural resources vital to this economy. And that's just a small part yet. How many people actually believe in a time where president needed a reason to go to war? 3 suspects searched for about the last couple Septembers were suddenly apprehended. Scare tactic blueprints, the evidence of kids targeted. Let's market a war. Not so hard to do when Black Hawk was such a box office smash hit. And when a bomb goes off, it looks like the shit. But when a plane hit, this nation paused. It was like, oh shit. All this given, no return. The greatest excuse to pocket a little more of what we earn. Lessons to learn. We die for countries. We die for flags. We die for cash. We die for gas. And I cry for these morals, for these mortals believing they are God. We hated the French because they believed in peace. We hated others that were in fear of what we might do. You hated others that didn't look like you. But people, I love you. Please do not misinterpret my choice of topic, my voiced opinion, my trust in some, distrust in others. This goes to show a president can be far more dangerous than any mythical dictator, cause you got some people following this motherfucker like he's a god. And I am lost. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. King James is at it again, tampering with ancient scrolls, redirecting good souls, readmitting the power of control. Soul stole for black gold, Texas T, y'all. Jeb and his family hiding out in Beverly Hills, that is. He kills the kids and uses eye for an eye, but this third eye spies we were already blind to attacks before that trade center ever went down. But we will in time be justified. There is no place to hide, Mr. Supremacist. There is no place to hide, Mr. Extremist. There is no place to hide, Mr. Conformed. There is no place to hide, Mr. Conformer. And they missed her once again. Mother, please tell your children it's okay to cry. Teach them the value on a human's life. They were wrong, but we were wrong. Let us take the blame for own mistakes. Hate is not the antidote for peace. Hate only formulates into beast. I pray for everyone. Those I pray for pass more borders than man will ever know. There they go, 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 there they go. For what honest reason? Who knows? A sense of security? Western supremacy? Direct order of the Queen? Another star on our flag? Once again, we've been had. But remember, people, I love you. No declarations, no treaties, no contracts, no born allegiance, no preset culture, no necessary action which must be taken, no trust in governments and covenants, no happy endings desperately prevented from happening, no freedom without a sales tax, no plan, no program, no ordinance ordained, no tribes, no following, no palace, no kingdom, no tale, no story, no legend, no hero, no townsman, no citizens, no longer people, no longer men, no longer women, no longer just numbers, but experiments. Baby killers and wife beaters glorified as noble protector. The blind to worshiping demons sailing warships. The greatest country on earth to be held responsible for the overcontinuation of unnecessary human suffrage. War leaders and world leaders gather in circles. Everyday people, squared and boxed influential voices of the resistance, digitally exiled for speaking what is. Child is the student raised, not to rise. Growing up with growing doubt under glowing clouds over factories where breeds disease. A nation that believes more in disease than love. Some spread happiness, some spread negativity. Far too many wear masks, far too many formulate a dead language constructed with words from their past. An anecdote of promise and hope, a cure for the elite. Only placebos for those near the bottom of society's totem pole. Crazy is a state of mind, lazy is a thought overtook by sadness. Caged is a man who still dreams, afraid is a woman trapped in nightmares. Displaced are children, forgotten without care. Ignored by guardians, no longer guarding them. Citizens, sacrificing citizens to followers of ideas of druids and unkempt evil. They're those finding comfort in cults, the sapio-set romance of numerology, the intrigue, a selective, heavily censored conspiracy. Prophets turned for profit, burned as martyr in fires set by the West. Burning cities are fireplaces for the elite. Burning books are the forest fires of safe spaces. Revolution is only a word commonly muttered on college radio. The only revolution aligns the students boxed in, traveling circles. Allow a higher state of mind to bring forth the evolution leading to a higher plateau. A game board, a game of chess. People seeking peace, becoming pieces. Dismembered casualties, casually unnamed, only remembered as forgotten. Game board, warfield, oil field. Their bullet holes in gas tanks. Shards of metal buried deep in pure hearts. Death of the moment of birth, indifference from a nation claiming to care, a nation of sick perversions and cold stares, serpents and madmen, sheep and sad men, a nation pretending to be unaware, yet fully knowing in the dawning age of an antisocial society stuck on social media, not quite ready to give up their toys or rise from their comfort, not quite ready to leave their homes and walk outside their perimeter. Invisible are actual people, silent are the voices, not quite ready to peek over their fence and greet their neighbors. A nation saddened by its lessons and failures. Pride is to be found in spirit, not fabric. Defensive citizens and premeditated thought. Books unfinished, half-built walls. Vacant mansions, unkempt kingdoms. Following a leader who doesn't move. Who sends children to fight children. Class classified by class. Their cracks and sculptures. Unsteady structures. Falling towers. World leaders play Jenga. Pray to the gods of war. We are products of products no longer in production, a processed generic generation of imitation. Their serpent shedding skin, once referred to as friend. Loud secrets, masked transparent, dried up rivers and fruitless trees. A malnourished elite, a known conversation no longer discreet. Great conversation, great ideas, a great betrayal. Potential sabotage set by serpents slithering another man's garden. Painting picture, tainted chant. Took it anyways and found a way to obliterate the envy of an enemy who always smiles before me and thinks I don't know him. Misery loves company, the company of familiar strangers, of wolves become sheep as I become exactly who I should have always been. Of her I always dreamt, far before we ever met. She introduced me to a world I never knew, one I wanted to pull her out of and bring her back into this one, the one that outlives 1,000 potential ends, the one that begins our story. I always knew love was real, just wasn't sure if I was. My diversions disappear. Now there is a new cause, one that those that claim to care claim to fight for, but end up up fighting against, end up fighting friends, end up fighting themselves, fighting those they swear they love. Beauty and my heartbeat, two distinct rhythms forming an unwritten symphony, a rough draft, remnants of a mental war. In retrospect, now a clear head, calm and collective. Our truths are usually those we run from. Our love sometimes misdirected, taking a little bit longer to find its way home. When we've been hurt, we sometimes take a bit of time to heal from our past experience in order to provide the present with a brighter future. And when we surpass mistakes we learn from, we become better equipped to be the person we should be for that person we dreamed who somehow escaped fantasy and found a way into our reality. As cliche as it sounds, I've seen you before, I've dreamed you before, I've known you far before last December. And other artists will say I've changed because they are afraid of leaving the comfort of their warm cocoons. Those that scream revolution sometimes forget evolution to be what the idea was in the first place. All those silent snipers hide in shadows and stare through scopes trying to target my happiness. She provides bulletproof vest with her smile. There is no cry. With her hand in mine, I have found a way to become invincible. We the people of the great divide ignore the sun before it could rise.
Pray to flags, pray to gods, prey on people, a parade of followers, a parade of enforcers, a parade of prisoners. Some prayed for freedom, some prayed for answers, some lived their entire lives only to question who they were praying to, what they were praying to, who they were preying upon. A nation of sheep behind the surface, a nation of wolves in sheep clothing, an army of predators no longer understanding why they were fighting, only doing so because they are told to do so, in the name of country, in the name of manipulators, believing it is in the name of God, a God that still goes unspoken, speechless by what his children have become.
Ignore the sun before it could rise. Ignore the sun before it could rise. Abort the sun before he could rise. To whom it may concern.